the 3rd through 5th grade students at a one-to-one. Currently, we have 80 partners in DISD. Our focus is to bridge the digital divide and transform teaching and learning. So going into DISD, I mean, as you probably can already guess, the income disparity is pretty, insane. You can tell quickly the kids, the haves and the have-nots. We have about 94% of the students are either on free or reduced lunch. And then with that, the studies show that only 52% of the students actually meet math and reading standards. So there is a need in DISD. So the goals for our program is first to give the technology. So I know somebody said that, oh, there's technology, everyone has it one-to-one. Well, in DISD, that is not the case. About 1/3 of the technology on the campus is not in use because it's already outdated or it's broken. So we come in and we do provide that one-to-one technology to give them those resources. We also try to foster innovative teaching practices. We start at the admin level. We go over goal setting with them, then we go to the teachers, we train them, not only on resources, but different pedagogical practices. And then our 3rd goal is to increase tech literacy. So students know how to use technology for playing, for doing games at home. They don't know how to transition that once they get into the school setting. So we're trying to prepare them for, a digital world. Okay, so our history. We started with individual schools, the program of the 3rd and 5th grade model. We saw that it was actually having a good impact on the students at the campus. So we moved to a feeder pattern. In DISD, a feeder pattern consists of all the elementary schools that feed into a certain high school. So within a feeder, you can have anywhere between 6 and 9 elementary campuses. They've currently changed the model, but this was the model this past year. And that was extremely successful for us. And so we have expanded rather quickly within the district. So like I said, right now we're in 80 different schools within DISD. We as a program have impacted more than 24,000 students and more than 960 classrooms.
So from the ISD, or anyone might be familiar that trying to get tens of thousands of devices implemented out on a one-to-one model has not been very effective across a lot of districts, but we can proudly say that all of our schools are continuing implementing.
And we do follow up with campuses after our first initial implementation year, and they do continue using the devices. So our process, we start at the ground level. Like I said, we do start with it admin, and we set up goals for the campuses. The goals are set around changing the mindset of the entire campus. We do want this to be a sustainable model. So they're setting goals at the admin level, at the teacher level, and at the student level. We follow through with that. Our trainings are built around having the campuses actually meet their goals. So we do have them set attainable goals. We do summer trainings for those teachers that are wanting to come and get their hours. We train the campuses. Once the school year does start, for those teachers that weren't able to come out during the summer. We do lesson planning support on a weekly basis. We're there in the classroom. If the teacher is very timid about using technology because they've never used that sort of tablet technology in the classroom, we come out and we're their tech TA. So we try to make them as comfortable as possible with having this new technology in their campus. Just because a teacher might be a younger teacher and they know how to use technology, again, they have to have that mindset switch to where now they're not just using it for personal use, now they're using it to make their lessons a little better and a little different. So everyone has to switch their mindset, not just the students, but the teachers as well. And so that's where we come in. We do the research behind the different resources. We're constantly reading about what's new. How can we implement, PBL if that's the focus of the campus, or how can we implement blended learning, just so that we can help them. These are examples of things we're doing. You can notice on the left, somebody familiar with Kathy Morris. This is a training that we do with all the teachers before the rollout. And we have people come out and show different resources that can help the teachers in their classrooms. So Kathy was going over Collaborify with the teachers over the summer. On the right, you'll see student work. So the teacher in this classroom had the students design a product, and then they had to make a commercial to go with it. So they used their tablets not only to research, but then to videotape themselves doing their commercial. And this teacher uses them for fluency, for reading fluency. So she has the students record themselves, and then they tie it to a QR code. So they also have to learn how to do QR codes. And then it's a nice little bulletin board in the hallway. With the bulletin board in the hallway, again, that's a shift in the mindset of the campus into, we're now a technology campus. And if you want to hear the student reading, scan this QR code.
And one note I'd like to put on that, these are all related to their goals, right? So we sit with the campus, we create their goals. So for example, this campus's goal might have been related to, we want the students to be tracking their own progress by creating digital journals or digital portfolios for themselves to house their own products, right? And for the teachers to give feedback and students to collaborate via this type of portfolio. And so this would be an example of things that teachers are doing in the classroom to evince those goals. I'm going to talk a little bit about the actual impact that we've seen in the classrooms. So like I said, one, did they or did they not achieve the SMART goals that they set out, whether it's around student academic achievement or teacher pedagogical changes. But two, also, what actually is happening in moving the needle, right, in student achievement. So from an independent study done by a wonderful research group from Vanderbilt University and University of Texas at Austin, they found that looking specifically at our low-income population, which, like Elizabeth said, is the vast majority of the students that we work with, we've seen a fantastic reduction in the achievement gap. And what I mean by achievement gap, if you're not familiar, is how do high-income students perform compared to these low-income students, and what is the gap there? So how close are we to achieving, or excuse me, to closing the achievement gaps? And so we've seen fantastic impact in actually moving the needle in these student outcomes. Oh, and Elizabeth, what was the background on this study?
So this is
very, what's the word?
This was done in 2015, 2016. It was 284 classrooms who were studied. It was over 1,272 students that were a part of that. And for that year, that cohort year, it was about 64% of the campuses that were the classrooms were a part of it.
Right, so it was a combination of classroom observations, teacher surveys, student surveys, and then as well, student data, academic data gathering. And in fact, what we've seen is we see a much higher achievement gap reduction in specifically bilingual populations as well. And I'm going to talk about this weird discrepancy between this enormous difference between 60% and 58%. So what we wanted to talk with you guys about today and brainstorm on is our current hurdles and then our problems that we're facing in the future. So I think it's so funny that, Kathy, your numbers matched up with what we said. Pushback from teachers ranges around 20% to 40%. It's all about shifting that mindset. So Elizabeth mentioned summer trainings and weekly campus trainings or periodic trainings. We don't just mean trainings. When we are working with the teachers, it's very important for us to message things correctly, such that they perceive this program as a part of the whole campus initiative, something that is already happening on the campus, but technology is just another puzzle piece to it, right? Nothing that is additive. However, there are instructors that no matter how much we build from the ground level up and get their buy-in and support and input on building these goals, for some of them the program is seen as yet another initiative that's maybe as technology fads come in and out in a district, something that will create a heavier workload and maybe possibly fade in coming years. Another issue that we have encountered in the past is a principal or a campus might be very eager to partner with us and have a one-to-one ratio of tablets in their schools, but those principals and sometimes the district as a whole might not have a very clear vision on how they see technology shaping the way their students learn, right? So working with the campuses to create effective plans on how they want to integrate the technology to actually achieve impact, and using starting to do trainings on things like the SAMR model or the TPAC model, which sort of clearly outline how teachers can integrate technology into their lesson plans, has helped, but a lot of times we have to build that ourselves. One thing that I asked Houston ISD before was something that we in Dallas ISD face a lot, which is constantly shifting transitions in leadership or administration or teachers, such that our knowledge pool is significantly leaking each year. And a big issue is how do we consistently keep that mindset and keep teachers trained without significant resources spent by Jebediah Foundation. Finally, in teacher training or teacher learning or whatever you want to call it, it's very difficult, I think, in integrating technology to strike that perfect balance between giving teachers the practical training on how to use a resource and how to turn on a tablet, and then how to teach their students how to turn on the tablet if they don't know how to, versus what are the most effective ways to be using technology instructionally, right? It's very difficult in a district to get professional development time with a teacher. I think Kathy and Elliot will attest to that as well. So amongst all the other competing priorities that they might have, like again, relating to their change management, they don't see technology as an integrated part, but a separate part. It can be very difficult to strike that perfect balance. So those are our current problems, and then thinking together as Jebediah Foundation is moving forward, what are our problems that we're facing now as we've saturated the Dallas ISD market and we're looking to expand our program? Number one is growth. So this idea of how can we maintain our programmatic strengths and the high quality of teacher training and teacher change management and move, but without diluting our impact and creating a sustainable plan that way, because we are very much based in Dallas, but we're interested in moving outside the district. And then two, what the heck is going on between that 16% and that 58%, right? We've been able to see this change in moving the needle in academic outcomes, but the research so far has not explained what are we doing programmatically, whether it be with teacher training or the resources that we are front-loading the teachers with, et cetera, that are creating these differences, or maybe that's just the natural outcome of technology embedded in these schools. But what do we need to be focusing on? What parts of our program are contributing to these gains, right? And what may not be as useful that we should cut out. So again, trying to get someone, because unfortunately our funding with the UT Austin Vanderbilt group has gone out. So if any researchers know anyone who want to study our program, we're very much to talk to you. But trying to look at more nuanced relationships between what we're doing and the outcomes. And then finally, I think we talked a little bit about this earlier in the day, but student achievement isn't the end-all be-all, right? And how can we be harnessing this, or should we be harnessing this technology to focus on different kinds of learning, right? Whether it be social-emotional learning or character trait development and things like that. What is something that technology could help with that we aren't necessarily focusing on right now? So those are our bigger questions that we're facing.